Eddie Murphy didn't just redefine comedy, he dominated it, but behind the laugh, the leather suit, and the legacy, he kept a mental list, 7 comedians. Each one left a mark. Some crossed a line, others just never clicked. And the way he handled them? Cold, controlled, unforgiving. Stick around till the end to hear which comedy legend Eddie publicly roasted on stage and never spoke to again. Eddie Murphy was the king of the 80s. By 25, he had SNL in his pocket, box office hits under his belt, and comedy specials people still quote today. But with success came competition, and with competition came conflict. These weren't surface-level showbiz spats. They were sharp, career-defining fractures. And Murphy, as funny as he was, didn't always handle them quietly. Number 7. Arsenio Hall. Best friends turned cold strangers. Arsenio and Eddie came up together. They shared apartments, shared dreams, and later shared the screen in Coming to America. But when Arsenio launched his talk show in 1989, things shifted. Suddenly, Murphy saw him as giving platforms to rising comics, his competition. And worse, Arsenio made light jokes about Eddie's personal life on air. Eddie didn't laugh. By the time Coming to America was in development, insiders say Eddie made one thing clear: Arsenio wasn't coming back unless on strict terms. A friendship that once felt unbreakable, done in by fame, and won too many punchlines. Number 6. David Spade. 6 words, one Cold War. In 1995, David Spade went on SNL's Hollywood Minute and pointed at a photo of Eddie saying, "Look, children, a falling star. Make a wish." Eddie wasn't just offended. He was furious. Behind the scenes, Murphy reportedly made some calls, and Spade's opportunities began drying up. He later said he felt blacklisted. The two have never reconciled, and when asked about it years later, Eddie just said, "There are jokes, and there are cheap shots." Number 5. Martin Lawrence. From protege to public takedown. Eddie believed in Martin early, even helped open doors. But when Martin's fame exploded, Bad Boys, Martin, sold-out tours, Eddie reportedly started pulling back. One night at an L.A. comedy club in 1996, Martin made a joke at Eddie's expense. Minutes later, Eddie took the stage and tore him down, not playfully, but personally. Martin never responded publicly, but they haven't shared a stage or screen since. It was one of the rare times comedy turned personal and permanent. Number 4. Chris Rock. Hero worship gone wrong. Chris Rock grew up idolizing Eddie Murphy, and at first, Eddie encouraged it. But when Chris dropped Bring the Pain in 1996 and became the new king of stand-up, things shifted. At a New York showcase, Chris joked about Eddie's old routines. Light tribute. "Eddie?" He reportedly stood up and walked out. Later, he told insiders that Rock wasn't doing anything new. Chris, in interviews, admitted, "His silence hurt more than a review. That was my hero." Number 3. Keenen Ivory Wayans. The man who built In Living Color. Wayans revolutionized sketch comedy in the 90s, launching names like Jamie Foxx and Jim Carrey. But Eddie felt in living color, was trying to outdo what he started on SNL. When Keenan made comments about networks censoring black comedy, many say Eddie took it personally. At the 1991 MTV Movie Awards, Keenan cracked a mild joke about Eddie's latest films. Eddie's response backstage? Reportedly dismissive and cold. Keenan later said, "I wanted to honor Eddie's legacy, but maybe he didn't see it that way." Number 2. Richard Pryor, the mentor who felt disrespected. Eddie called Pryor his idol. Without Richard, there's no Delirious, no Raw. So when Eddie cast him in Harlem Nights, it should have been a dream. But insiders on set say Eddie, who also directed, gave Richard curt direction, publicly and harshly. Richard, already dealing with health issues, felt humiliated. He reportedly told friends, "He used to admire me. Now he just wants to run me." The film wrapped, but their bond never recovered. It was less a feud, more a painful disappointment. Number 1. Bill Cosby, the feud everyone remembers. Bill Cosby didn't like Eddie's comedy, said it was vulgar, irresponsible, and bad for Black America. So he called him, privately. Eddie's response? He turned it into a bit, one of the most savage and raw. Bill called me up, told me to clean up my act. I told him, "You know what you can do." Cosby, furious, tried to discredit Eddie publicly. Years later, when Cosby's scandals broke wide open, Eddie revisited it on SNL with one of the sharpest lines of his career. "If you would have told me 30 years ago that I'd be this boring and Bill Cosby would be in jail, I'd have taken that bet." Poetic, ruthless, final. Eddie Murphy may be comedy royalty, but royalty has its grudges. Some of these conflicts were based in jealousy, some in miscommunication. But one thing is clear: Eddie didn't forget, and he rarely forgave. In a world where comedians often bond over struggle, Murphy stood apart, protective of his legacy, cautious of his crown. And when someone crossed a line, he didn't yell, he walked away and locked the door behind him.